I'm going to show you how a CI/CD pipeline using Harness Database DevOps can generate a change to move a database into a state that you've already defined on an existing database. In this case, I'm going to start this pipeline, just specify a description of my change, which is adding the job title column, as well as a ticket ID. This pipeline is going to perform a delta between two different databases. The first database is a development database. It's always in sync with my main development branch in Git. The second environment is my authoring environment. It's a place developers can connect and make any changes they want to. In this case, my authoring environment, I made this change through a database UI. I used dbeaver, but you could just as easily use something like Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. These tools provide a what you see is what you get style of interface for updating your database schema. As companies ship software faster and faster, more people who do not have traditional backgrounds in databases are needing to define schema definitions. These UI tools can help them get going. By leveraging a CI/CD pipeline, we can let these developers use those UI tools to develop the change, and then still capture the desired state of that change and push it into a source control system. In this case, we'll be using Git. We can also pass that change through a set of governance rules before it reaches any environments other than the authoring environment to ensure that it meets the company's policies and is safe to run. This pipeline's starting by ensuring that that development environment that I mentioned is fully in sync with Git before it starts taking snapshots. We're now taking a snapshot of what's currently on the authoring environment, and once that snapshot finishes, we're going to go ahead and perform a diff between it and the development environment. This diff will give us the desired state of the new change that we need to apply to our Git repository. The diff finished, and right here we can see the change that we're applying. This change adds a new column named job title, and it also adds a new index. This new index is named person job title IDX, and it's indexing on our new column. So we've gone ahead and we've checked this change into our Git repository. When this pipeline checked it into Git, it started our normal CI/CD process, exactly the same as if the developer had checked these changes in by hand. If I hop over to Git and I hit refresh, we'll be able to see the change that I was just showing you. You can see that those two changes are now here. This pipeline is also testing that the change rolls back successfully, which it did. So let's go ahead and hop over to our normal CI/CD workflow, which was kicked off by the check-in. Here we can see the pipeline execution kicking off that's going to go ahead and deploy that change to our main development environment. When we're deploying it to that main development environment, we're going to run all the same governance checks that we do when we deploy through to staging and production. This means that if it violates any of our company's policies, we'll know right away and we'll be able to get it fixed. As we can see, this change just failed, and it failed because it doesn't follow a naming convention. If I hop over to this policy enforcement tab, I can see a little bit more detail. So in this case, my index isn't following a naming convention and was expected to have this name. So we know our changes in Git. I'm going to just go ahead and hop on over here, and we're just going to update that index name. So, hey, we want to change the index name. Let's go ahead and commit this change, and then we'll go look at the new pipeline execution. So here we've got our new pipeline execution. It's going to run through the same governance checks that we were failing a moment ago, and this time we should successfully deploy and update out to our development environment. Anytime we deploy this change, we start by going and pulling down the state of Git. We then generate the exact SQL that we're going to be running against the database, and we pass it through the governance engine. This time that test passed. Over on the right-hand side of the screen here, you can see the state of the database. So all these white rows, these have been run against the database in the past, and these green rows are the new changes that we are in the process of applying currently. You can see over here in the label column what the JIRA ticket for our change was, and you can also easily see what our change was trying to do, which was add in that job title column. System's going to generate a tag after the deployment, and that tag's just a rollback point. In this case, I'm tagging using the git SHA, and that helps me correlate the state of my database back to Git. If I hop over here to the migration state dashboard, you can see that we've got several changes that we've deployed to our authoring environment and our development environment that we've not yet deployed out to our other environments. My company uses GitOps workflows, where we have a branch for dev, a branch for staging, and a branch for production. So in order to push up to staging, I'm going to go ahead and create a PR. When this pull request merges, it's going to kick off a Harness pipeline that again deploys this change onto our staging environment, using the exact same process that we showed you a minute ago on development. Just like on development, we start by cloning the code base, and then we go and we ensure our understanding of the current database state is accurate, generate the SQL statements we're going to apply, and pass them through our governance engine in order to ensure that the change meets all of our configured policies. When it does, we'll move on and we'll apply the change. These are all the changes that we had waiting in our authoring and our development environment that had not yet been pushed up to staging. The system's currently going through and applying them. You can see the various Jira ticket numbers associated with each change on the right, as well as a comment describing what each change did. After this change finishes, we'll go ahead and tag the database with the SHA from our git commit, just like we did before. With that, if we go back over to this migration state dashboard, you can see that our change is now on authoring, the environment we originally applied it, the development environment, as well as the staging environment. In order to get it onto development, we automatically generated a snapshot for the change and pushed it to Git, and in order to push to staging, all we did was merge a PR via standard, common GitOps style of workflow. Let's go ahead and push to production. To push to production, we'll again create a new PR, and this PR is just going to move from staging up to our production branch. Just like before, Harness is monitoring the production branch, and it's going to automatically kick off a pipeline. This pipeline execution is going to go ahead and iterate through every single production instance and deploy to them all in order. If anything goes wrong along the way, it will trigger a full rollback. Let's go ahead and let this execute. Just like before, it's going to execute with the exact same logic. But now, as you can see, we're running a very large number of separate database instances in parallel. This allows you to quickly and easily update large numbers of database instances when needed. Database instances that are run on any given update is fully configurable, as is how many run in parallel. I'm going to go ahead and hop back over to that migration state screen, and here you can see that our change has fully reached several of these different production instances. Our pipeline is still in the process of deploying it to these two environments, but in a moment it will be there. If at any point in time we want to see that change set, we can just come down here and hit View Change Set, and we can easily see the original definition of the change that we ran, as well as the SQL that backs it. So you have significantly improved visibility into what that change is, as well as where it's deployed. So far we've deployed it to most of production, but not yet these two environments. Similarly, if I want to view that pipeline execution at any point in time, I can just hit that View Pipeline Execution button. It's going to bring me right back here to where that execution was originally run. Our last two instances are in the process of deploying, and in just a moment they will have finished deploying. And at that point, we'll go back and look at the migration state dashboard and see that we've fully deployed our change. Hopping back over to the migration state dashboard, you can see that our change is now deployed across all environments. I've shown you how, using Harness Database DevOps, you can give your developers a really simple and easy experience to leverage any tool for making a database change against an authoring environment. For example, a UI-based tool that allows them to make that change without knowing how to write the SQL to describe it in the first place. We've then used Harness Database DevOps in order to take the configured state of that database and generate a definition for how to move a database into it, and we check that definition into Git. We can come in and really easily see that definition right here. So we added that index, and we went ahead and we added this column. We then hit a policy issue where the index we made violated a naming convention. We updated the name of the index, and that allowed us to deploy successfully to our development environment. After we'd deployed to development, we merged our PR to staging, deploying to staging, and then ultimately merged it to our production branch, which deployed to production. This allowed us to make a database change without writing any SQL using a simple UI. We then merged that database change following our company's standard SDLC and moved it out across our environments via common GitOps workflows. This demonstrates how Harness Database DevOps can help you simplify the life of your developers and improve the developer experience of making database changes.